This is True Buzz, that Mary J. Now we ain't new to this. For my stoners and for my cannabis enthusiasts, never heard a show as good as this. Number one, it's the best. Bringing in many special guests in the industry of cannabis. Business owners to growers, even artists you know of. So sit back and just roll up. Perfect show for my smokers. True Buzz, hey.
Hey, it's feeling good today. We got Taylor Penelope Hall in the building for the True Bud Show podcast.
Hey, I'm here.
About to have some fun. Got a little purejuana displayed here. So, you know, this is crazy. We were talking right before the podcast kicked off. I usually would drop like 3 videos a week, and I haven't done a piece of content in like a month and a half. So thank you for being part of the first one here.
I'm so excited, and I'm so excited that it's for this. I thought, like, when we met and you were talking about it, I was sure this was already a large part of your channel because it's a cool project.
Thank you. It's about to become a lot larger part. And yeah, so let me just talk a little bit about the purejuana, and then we can see where the conversation goes, you know, for people tuning in. So purejuana is the world's first live strain-specific psychotropic spirit, made from a premium fresh frozen flower, and never any distillate. You know, that's where we're changing the game, and it's an educational based product because everybody loves smoking the good buds. You know, everybody's, oh, give me the most fire stuff, but for some reason edibles, ingestibles are just kind of lacking behind. You know, they're coming there, and that's where we're pushing an envelope here and saying, you know, this is the fresh frozen flower. This is the purest expression of the plant you can get without combustion.
Yeah.
Pure expression, pure experience, as it says right here. So I guess the best way to talk about it is just to pour some up.
Yeah.
So let's do here, I'll pour this in here. This is the XJ13.
Okay.
And I'm just going to pour them all up. So this is Super Lemon Haze. Okay. This is the 4 strains we have currently. This is the Venom OG. We just got a really nice indica. And then if you wouldn't mind just putting that Blue Dream in that last one.
Ooh.
And it dissolves really well. Still recommend giving it a little stir in each here. Now give that, once I stir that Blue Dream, give it a little smell there.
Okay.
Because once you do,
I'm so excited.
It smells like the fresh flower.
Oh my God, that is insane.
It's pretty crazy. Now, yeah, like just a little venom here side by side. Give that one a little sniff. And this is what really like blows people's minds. So like, whoa.
That's amazing.
And like, so we have 3 different potencies. The Blue Dream you put in there is 2.5 milligrams. The Super Lemon Haze is the yellow is 5 milligrams. And then our reds, the XJ and Venom, are 10 milligrams.
I literally love that. And I feel like those are perfect, especially for the concept of what you have here. It's really cool.
What do you think would be your ideal dose?
I have a pretty high tolerance, so I would probably do the 10s, and I'd probably have anywhere from like 4 to 6 because I can usually do up to like 100 milligrams of edibles at least.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about these is it kicks in right away.
And I bet it's a lot stronger too. So I would probably stick to like 4.
Do you want to try the XJ or the Venom?
I'm down for I want to try both.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll set these over. I'll set this XJ your way.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then I'll set the Venom right there as well for you. And I'll just sip on a little Super Lemon Haze. It's just crazy that like I've had so many, you know, videos and podcasts about ingestibles and edibles, but I've never had one that's this clean, you know, and this has that strain specific effect.
You can barely taste it. It's like when they make lavender rose water, it's more like it's very subtle, but it's there. It's really nice. And the smell that's what's there.
The smell is very important. And yeah, the taste, that's what I like to say. The taste is pretty subtle, refreshing, because people be like, wait, it tastes like weed? I'm like, no, it's not like those shitty edibles you used to buy back in the day, or that I'll even make homemade edibles still that taste like trash because I'm using trim and shake.
Yeah. I know, and that's the thing too, is I love making edibles, but I was even just talking about that with a good friend that I get a lot of my weed from as well. And he was like, no, you should get the shake. And I was like, I don't know, man. Like, if you want premium edibles, like, you should use quality flower, you know, at least, and quality products. And that's why I loved, like, I didn't really fully understand everything that you were talking about when we met. Like, I didn't understand the science behind the distillates and all of that because I'm still pretty new to that. And I was only recently like getting into dabbing and wax and shatter and all of that. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. It like totally makes more sense to me now. The whole process at least.
Yeah, and that's what I like to say too, because I really think this is the future of cannabis in so many ways. You know, whether it's just changing from people, you know, wanting to go to a lounge, you know, like wanting to go to a bar, you know, our CEO Matt, brilliant guy, really knowledgeable, has been in the game for so long, and he has a vision of, you know, purejuana being up next to a bottle of Grey Goose in the bars in the future. Like, oh, let me get a purejuana, and it's really
I
like,
love that.
and I know you're really health conscious, so
It's
tell me a
actually
little
funny.
about that.
Yeah, no, that's funny because I was talking about it with a new friend earlier. I have always wanted to make like a cannabis mall, essentially, where or like a stoner safe haven, where instead of like going to a bar after work or going, I don't know, going anywhere where you just feel like you want to blow off some steam, but, you know, maybe it's just like a whole new environment. And the concept of it would be kind of like a gym where you go in and you get your membership. And then if you've been there before, then you kind of sign in like the metro, and you'll sign in and go through like this cool trippy tunnel and then get through, and it will just be like a huge like Mall of America, but for cannabis, and just have like everything for every kind of stoner, you know, like a library with like cool hammocks, and make it like a cool reading nook. And I wanted to do like a candy shop, but like a health conscious one, and all edibles, and like just different dosages, like CBD edibles, you know, maybe even just candy and cakes and stuff for people to munch out on. And then like theater for TED Talks and movies with like bean bags. And I was even thinking like cannabis infused popcorn, like just different, you could literally make whatever you wanted. And it's so cool. And that's what I was like loving about this, was I had always wanted to make a mocktail with cannabis so that you could get high instead of drunk. And I just like love that it's like there, you guys did the science. It's dope. And now it's like with the smell, you were talking about the scents and of different strains. I think with essential oils, you could totally like open that up as well and add a bunch of different healing properties included to what's already there with the THC. So
And
I think it's pretty cool.
I love all that, and I love, you know,
Yeah.
where your head's at with that awesome idea.
Yeah.
Sign me up to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I love everyone I've been meeting so far. Like anyone who's down, I want them to be a part of it, you know?
And that's how we feel with the purejuana. And that's, I mentioned to you before, we're doing
Yeah.
events monthly now.
I'm definitely gonna be at those.
It's gonna, this first one's gonna be sick, like a pool rented out, little tiki bar set
It'll
up.
be a blast.
And yeah, I'll get you an invite, and people listening or watching, you can just go to purejuana.com, and we have an option like, oh, I want to go to an event, and we can you just sign up. We'll keep you in the loop, or hit me up at Jack at truebudstv, drop a comment, I'll hook you up, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But that's what it's
I
all
love it.
about, and that's why
Creating
I love
community.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's what creates, like, I think that's what makes cannabis so special. And honestly, I've been noticing with like dispensaries and stuff, like there's just so many different new strains coming out, like so many new products hitting the market. And, you know, I think as much as it is fun to like get a new top shelf strain and it's like super sticky and smells great, and like if it smokes great, cool. But I've also been noticing like maybe because of lab testing, or just like because it's grown in a lab, it just has been giving me like headaches personally. And I've just noticed that like sun-grown organic has been like, everyone I've shared it with too, like they've been like, whoa, this tastes amazing. And I'm like, dude, I don't even know what strain it is. It just works. It gets me high. And I think that's a common misconception too about weed, is like people think there are these different strains, and I think there's like a lot of classic strains that, you know, hold true to indica or sativa descriptions of like, you know, the high or the effect on you. But, you know, I think just like how it smells, to each person, it's gonna like have a different effect. And that's why if it smells a cool rule of thumb is like, if it smells good to you, it's probably something that your body needs, you know? And if it doesn't, then, you know, that's probably not going to be the strain for you. So I don't know, all of that's what it's cool. I think people are too scared to approach cannabis, but like there's just so many different things out there to try. And I think that's what's scary about it. But honestly, if you keep it simple, it's actually a really great experience. Like, I think stick to like CBD, you know, salves and maybe the CBD pens. But honestly, I think natural is the way to go. Like, I'm usually only smoking joints. Like, I don't really believe in vape pens and all that stuff. Like, this is a cool product because it's the flower itself literally just frozen until you get what you can from it and then turn it into another way to get high.
Well, it's funny you say that too with the vaping, because I've had people say with this product like, oh, I love vaping's my go-to, but now with this I'll take this just because it hits a little quicker. You know, you don't gotta wait around. But and I love when people say they love flower, because I'm always a huge flower guy, and I'm like, well, this product's right here is still for you too, you know. It's like, and it's crazy the way different people, and I'm sure you've seen it, you know, interacting with customers more like on a bud tending side, but it's just like seeing what people love, and even working some of these like,
well, and that's the thing too that I want to say about like bud tending, and what I've noticed is like it seems as though a lot of people want to recommend what's cool and what's popular on the market versus actually like taking the time to get to know the customer and like what they're looking for, and kind of asking what their taste is. Like, you know, a lot of people, if they're into the fruitier things, or if they're into something more dank and like skunkier smelling, and like, you know, asking little questions like that helps you navigate like where, or like kind of find something that can work for them in the way that they want it to. And I've had so many customers come back and be like, whoa, like what you gave me was what I was looking for, like that hit. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And it wasn't even the most expensive thing on the shelf, because I'm not trying to make money here. I want you to get the product that you need, because that's what you came here for.
and it feels good, because I can say that for sure, just from a bartending background, you know. When you make somebody the right drink, the right thing, and they come back in like, I want, and then like somebody else will try to make it, like, no, I want Jack to make it. He made it good. Like I guess the little things like that gives you a little
and
boost.
People
like,
get kind of jealous about that too, and they're like, well, why? You know, it's like, well, you know, maybe you should like pay attention to their needs, and like, you know, and don't, it's acting out of service, not for like yourself. If you're going at it for the tips, or like going at it because you want to sell out this jar so that you get to take it home at the end of the night, then like you're clearly coming from the wrong place, you know. But if you're coming at it from like, hey, I want to help people, and like, this is a product I believe in, I think it will help them, then, you know, you're going to sell shit like crazy, and people will trust you. And trust is the most important thing out of, you know, they're trusting you to literally get high. Like, that's a big responsibility, you know, like you're in control of their high, you know. And I always told people like, well, you know where to find me. Come back if you don't like it, but I know you will. And I think it's like, it's the confidence in knowing that they're going to enjoy it because you took the time to like ask them the right questions, and all of those things are like so important. Yeah.
It's the little details that make, you know.
Yeah. And also like
important.
having knowledge about it yourself too. Like also like, why are you smoking too? Like, what do you need it for? Like, are you, you know, doing it more recreationally? Are you doing it to like, you know, suppress some things? Are you doing it for pain? Are you doing it for anxiety and like depression? All of those things, which, yeah, it's a very helpful tool, but even then you still have to be mindful about like consumption, like how much, how frequently, you know. And I think that's when people start to like get into dabs, and there's like people doing like 28-gram dabs, and it's like, what the fuck? Well, that's like so not necessary. Like, the human body was not meant to have that much concentrated weed at one time. Like, it's not necessary. It's like, what are you trying to achieve? And now forevermore, until you like let go, you have to keep up with your tolerance that you've like built, you know. And also the effects of dabbing too, like you can get this crazy stomach disease, like where it's like it causes vomiting and like it causes your like stomach to like, you know,
was that
quiver.
like the cannabis hyperemesis syndrome I've heard about?
Basically. And it's true.
Yeah,
and it's like, it is dangerous. And like, there are a lot of, that's why it's like, I understand where people are coming from when they like, you know, want to think of like the stereotypical stoner. But I've had a lot of like adults where I was like 19 and I like got a lot of 30-year-olds to smoke weed for the first time. But it was because like they trusted me to like make sure that I wasn't giving them too much because I know how much it is.
You know the game.
Yeah, like if you're like gonna share that experience with someone, you need to make sure that you're kind of not like babysitting them, but like you're now in charge of like their highs. So you need to like kind of make sure it's a good one. Like keep your vibes high, like make sure you're in a mental state to be like helping someone through their mental state.
Well, I had Gio on the podcast who started a channel called Bacon and Baking, and he's like, I think anybody that wants to do psychedelics should smoke a strong sativa first. I was like, I was like, that's a pretty interesting thought, man. I kind of like it.
Actually, that's true because you know what? Which I love consciousness and spirituality and all of those things, and I believe that like in like the third dimension, fourth, fifth dimension, and I think fifth dimension is all about love and like being true, genuine, like conscious creators and like literally manifesting your desire and like getting things a lot quicker than you would have thought possible before. Like things that you thought were impossible, you like are like, no, why not? And then you achieve those things. But it's a level of perception. It's not like an actual like difference in like going to another dimension. It's like, no, it's a higher level of thinking. And
that energy radiates, like you're saying too.
Yeah,
like,
you can
feel
like
it.
you can, and you will attract people too. Not always great ones because, you know, like lights attract moths, but like but you know, you attract people who might need what you're giving off and they might be inspired by it as well. But that's a whole lesson in itself of like learning how to protect your energy and like learning how to place boundaries, especially when you're learning how to like love people unconditionally. You have to like learn that you can love them and still like love them from a distance and like love yourself enough to like love them from afar, maybe, you know, in some cases. And or just learn like, okay, where am I giving too much with this person? And I think that's true spiritual maturity, is like owning yourself, owning your emotions, owning your thoughts, and being able to be like, hey, where did I give too much with this person? And you know, how can I make sure that I'm not giving too much so I don't get mad at them for it and resent them for giving too much, you know?
Yeah,
and it's like
walking a line.
It's a hard thing to do, but you know, it takes practice, just like anything. And like, if you're able to do that, then you're literally able to stay calm in any situation and assess it and respond instead of react. And people say like nothing in life matters, but it does. Like every single thing you do, it matters to you. It's going to have, you know, I believe in law of attraction, and it's like, just like karma, you know, whatever you put out is going to come back. And if you're being careless, then it's going to have a careless result. But if you're like being attentive and, you know, acting with intention in every moment, then it's going to have, you know, the desired outcome, basically. And easier said than done. But like you do that within every situation and forgive yourself for every time that you don't do that.
And like with all, you know, this spiritual aspects and stuff, do you find that weed helps you like kind of tap into that better?
Weed totally connected me to that 1000%. I would My parents were Christian, and I'm not like religious. I would definitely say I'm more spiritual, but I think that religion has a lot of words that have a lot of energy, like a lot of spiritual energy to them, and like good spiritual energy, it's all just like intent and how it's applied, and I think a lot of I think the Bible was honestly more of like a history book and kind of just showing us like what's going to go down, and like people kind of took things a little too literally, and there's a lot of metaphors in there, just like there is in life, because everything is a lot more connected than people want to believe. And when you smoke weed, it literally says like you start making connections, and sometimes they're like, oh, you're making connections that aren't there. But I don't agree with that. I think like you could be allowing yourself to feel like a little too much, or getting your imagination wrapped up in your emotions and letting that kind of carry you away. But I think whatever you feel is typically valid, and it's just an indicator to show you like what you want and what you don't want, and like it's your guide, your intuition.
You gotta take a step back sometimes.
If people actually listen to that and stopped trying to like think about things so logically all the time, like it's a mix, it's a balance of both, but like you can't always assess things logically. Like sometimes you just have to take a breath and be like, okay, like how do I want this to go? And I need to like get rid of any doubts that it's going to not go that way, True that. And I think like cannabis, honestly, like I was concerned that I was going to turn into like I was really lazy before, honestly. Like my mom, like growing up, my mom was like literally like nothing could motivate me. And I started smoking when I was like 13. So I've been smoking for like 10 years now. But I don't know. Honestly, it helped me get into working out. It helped me like stop drinking so much, because I moved to Mexico and I lived in Cancun.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You lived in Cancun?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I was so I was born in Hawaii, okay. And then I was born in Kauai, and then moved to Maui when I was like 4, moved to North Carolina when I was 10. And then my parents moved me to Cancun when I was 15. So yeah, huge change. And I was already like crazy and having fun, but like, they didn't tell me that we were moving there either. Like they told me when we got there for dinner, because my dad had been commuting and he accepted another job out there. I thought we were just going for the summer and then going to move to like California or Arizona or something. So I only had 2 suitcases, and we got there and they took me out to this nice dinner and told me, and I like went to the bathroom and like cried. I'm like, all right, so they don't care what I want, so I'm going to like do whatever I want. That's just like teenage toxic thinking, of course. But like, it was crazy, and I like ended up getting my GED and like leaving school at 16, and I made this whole PowerPoint for my parents to like become a DJ and sell timeshare and like all this stuff. And my last day of school, the night before, my friend and I actually went out and we partied with the Chainsmokers when I was like 16, and we were like taking shots from the bottle, like backstage with them, and like out till like 4 or 6 in the morning. And then like I went to school like still drunk a little bit, which I had never done that before, but like I was starting to party a lot more. And then I knew I needed to have my fun, because I told my parents I was going to grow up after that. So once I moved, and then after that we moved to Cabo when I was 17, and so I started selling timeshare out there. I got hired at 16, and then I worked for like 2 different companies out there, and like I was really good at sales. I was like number 8 out of 45 sales reps, and I was only like closing front ends of the deals. So I was doing.
Are you still in that game at all?
No, I mean, I definitely have a lot of connections to timeshare. My dad is actually now helping people get out of their timeshares because he's been in the business for like a long time.
Okay, because Airbnb's probably changed a lot of that.
I mean, honestly, it's just like everything in the world. Like it could work for some people, but then other times there's a lot of scamming possibilities.
true, huh?
I think there's a lot of reputable companies, and there's a lot of really great resorts, and there's a lot of amazing programs that work for people who have the money. But I don't know, personally, at the end of the day, I think like I don't see the point in investing like in your vacations in the future. Like I say, like spend that money when you have it,
Yeah, invest in something that
Like,
that can grow for
yeah,
you.
like invest in something that can grow so you can have money to like take all the vacations you want. Like if you have that much money, like invest it or fucking donate it, but like people don't even know what to do with their money, and that's why like sales people are like, shit, I'll help you, like this is a great payday for me. And I don't blame them, it's their livelihood, and it's like the way the economy was set up. But I literally, like, I can't sell something I don't believe in. And at that point I had become a lot more spiritual. I was totally trying to find myself and like trying to figure out what was what. I actually like got really into conspiracy theories. My dad had been into it since like 2008. And I actually told like one of my conspiracy theories when I was working. I first worked at a dispensary when I was 19. And I told this like director that did the show Disjointed on Netflix.
Okay.
And I told him all my conspiracy theories, and he put it in one of his episodes, like at like a different way of telling it, but like in a cartoon, like abbreviated version of basically everything I told him. And that was like the last episode that aired. So I was like,
so you're collecting your royalties, you're saying?
No,
I'm playing.
no, but I'm just like, whoa, that was crazy. And then I'm not surprised that like they didn't let him have another chance to air after that. I mean, the show probably wasn't getting the best ratings anyways, but
I need to catch it. I didn't watch it at all.
It's pretty funny. It's slapstick, but there's some funny humor to it. I think it's a little exaggerated humor on like what it's like at a dispensary. And there's a lot of people who would be like, oh my God, that's so not what it's like. Plus, it's a lot different now than how it used to be. It used to be way more chill. I mean, there's trap shops where you can go and chill and like smoke inside.
Sorry to hop in there real quick. And I've said this before on podcasts. That is still blows my mind when I'm going around talking to different dispensaries.
I don't even know how they're still around.
There's like, because I'll go on weed maps.
And not just that, but the amount of products that they have. Like they have like Cheetos, Sour Patch Kids, Skittles, like
when you start seeing a bunch of that shit, you're like
of like 1,000 milligrams.
Which is just bullshit.
Whoa. But I haven't tried any of that. I'm just kind of like laughing at the fact that it's even around. And then they'll sell like fake Stizzy pods and shit like that too sometimes. But I've also been to some fucking I
like some of them for their flour, but like, and then like
I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, I went in there and one guy like hooked it up. He like had all, like, I was like, I need 2 ounces, like I need to stock up, like, and he was like hooked it up with all these basically a cosmopolitan of all the different weed he had left, but it was like purple flower and like
little goodie
really
bag,
just really good flower. And I was like, thanks, that was nice. Necessary.
Yeah, like I still can't wrap my head around it. They must be getting somebody must be getting kickbacks or something, and I'm not against it fully either. I know there's a lot of things that have happened with legalization that left some of the black market kind of up in the air. So it's just kind of hard sometimes for the legal shops to like, they have to pay so many fees and taxes and stuff, but
the regulations. I don't know how I feel about, I mean, I don't think it's a big deal to get your stuff tested, but like I don't trust, like with the GMO stuff that's out there. Like I just feel like people are trying to add a certain, it seems a little,
because that's what sells.
Like they can make money off of it.
Yeah, like,
and there's like a lot of pharmaceutical companies that bought like seed patents, and they're hiding their names. So that's
a whole nother crazy
I know.
part.
Well, and that's why I'm like, it's exciting to see how big the cannabis industry is, but like there's so many people who like still don't know, and they're still, I feel like they care too much about their brand partnerships and like what they get out of it and stuff like that, versus like actually educating people on cannabis and like how to use it and ways to use it, and making that like, you know, a real thing, and not just like this whole original culture of like, I don't know, I feel like they kind of cheapened cannabis, because there's a lot of people who would smoke it like in a very cosmopolitan, high fashion way, like since the 20s. So I don't know where this whole like cheapened version of cannabis came about, you know. And
when you say cheapen, you mean like
I don't know, it's just like it look like some of the stuff is just like tacky. I'm just like, it's like, it doesn't seem high quality, it just seems
especially with
like,
especially with vapes a lot of times, I feel that way.
It seems like the McDonald's and Burger Kings of like cannabis, you know what I mean?
Well,
like I'm just saying, like this is the Erewhon of cannabis.
And that, well, that's where it's like kind of a joke that we've made before, is like the distillate is like the pink slime sometimes. Literally.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. And I'm not saying it to like, you know, it's not like a bougie thing. I'm not saying it to be like, oh, you should only spend money on expensive products. No, you should do your research and you know, see what the companies, like, what are you putting in your body, you know, like think about that, you know, what are you smoking on? That's literally going in your lungs. That's how you breathe. That's how you are alive. Like, you should be conscious of those things, you know, not just like, oh, this is a cool product, you know, they have a good packaging and I've heard a lot about it, you know, whatever, and I just kind of want to get fucked up and whatever. And that's the sad fact, honestly. There's like, that's what I really don't like about social media, is there's like so many stars out there and they're like, well, I just do this for money. And it's like, okay, like, but are you not thinking about the social impacts that you have, and like, you know, what the content that you're putting out there, and the fact that it's going to have an impact on not just like your generation, but like a lot of younger generations, and like they're gonna think that that's like normal, and like they'll be desensitized to it without like knowing the context of what you're putting out there, you know?
Yeah, they'll just catch one off piece, and it's like,
yeah,
and it's hard too, and that's where I'm like fully open with everybody and all the content I've done, and that's why I laid off reviews in general, because I felt like I hit a certain point where I was trying these edibles, tasting them, and I'm like, this 30-40 milligrams of these edibles all seems to hit about the same. Literally, so it's just like the same. It's basically just a taste factor, is what most people
literally that's it. That's why I'm like, okay, that stuff is fun every now and then. It's like dessert, like, you know, treat yourself every now and then, but that's not like water. That's not what you should be consuming every day, you know? Like all day, every day. You know,
like when I've showed these pictures of like, you know, to certain people, like bud tenders are pretty knowledgeable for the most part that I've ran into. Most of them are really knowledgeable, but it's like there are those people that I still run into that are just customers. Like they'll be like, oh, Jack, like even family and friends will be like, oh, so what are you selling? And I'll be like, ask them like, have you ever heard of distillate? They're like, no. And like some of these people are pretty big stoners. Like they're like, or no, not that. They've heard of distillate, but I'm like, do you know how distillate's made? Know. And they're like, oh, no, not at all. And I explain it, and then they're like, oh. Yeah, like I'm ingesting or eating that all the time, like, and it goes back like,
I know, but I think they don't even. That's actually that's the project that I'm working on right now. That's let's hear it. That's kind of like a secret. I'm not gonna like say the name or anything, but like definitely, you know, keep an eye out, because it's something that I'm really excited about. But I'm going to be launching my own subscription-based website and NFT. But
that game is crazy right now.
I know, and that's why I like, you know, it's now or never, right? Like honestly, if you're going to do it now. But I really kind of just want to help people. I was like thinking about it from an intellectual property standpoint, like how can I help the world and help myself simultaneously? Actually, I took a picture of it.
Nice.
There's this word called ikigai, and it's Japanese, and it's like something for like your life purpose, basically. And it's a combination of what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. And then a combination of what you love and what you're good at is your passion. Combination of what you're good at and what you're paid for is your profession. And then a combination of what you're paid for and what the world needs, that's your vocation. What you love and what the world needs, that's your mission. And then a combination of all of those things, that's your life purpose. And it's like funny because the world is so conditioned on choosing one path. And like, I can't even tell you how many times people have told me like, Taylor, you're doing too much. And I'm like, nah, you're not doing enough. And there's a song that goes like that now. And it's like, oh, I'm doing too much, but you're not doing enough. Like, but it's true. It's like,
it goes back to what you were saying earlier, just trusting your.
Yeah, I'm not doing these things because it's like, I'm not doing it for any other reason than because it's my passion and it's what drives me. And I'm like, okay, I can help others, make money, do what I love and what I'm good at. Like, what a dream. That's literally what everyone in the world wants to do. And it's like, they can do it. It's just like, the way society's been structured is like, there's going to be a lot of naysayers out there. And like, your job is to like, literally, like, you can't cry about it. Like, a lot of people are not going to be okay with what you want to do in life, but you kind of have to say F you and do it anyways, you know, ask for forgiveness, not for permission, you know? And honestly, I think a lot of people, like, if you're doing all of the things that you love and making money at it, and you know that you're like giving back to people in a certain way, then you're not going to like grow, have money, and like feel empty inside, you know? Like,
and you never know how, when you're on your like path like that, you never know how it's going to end up. Like, for instance, like, I feel like I'm like at exactly that spot right now, and I feel so fortunate because my life has worked out in a weird way. Like, I was selling.
But it's because
like
you're following
weed.
it.
I was selling weed before I did this. I was doing video content. Like, I have a bartending background, and now I'm selling the purejuana now, and it's all kind of accumulation of this journey that I've taken.
It all like evolved and kind of combined,
yep.
And that's what it is. And that's why you're happy and you feel fulfilled, and you're going to be able to make money at it, you know, because it's not about the money for you. It's like, it's going to be about doing all of those other things, and then the money just like kind of comes because you've learned how to have fun making the money, not like just getting it, you know? And that's the difference. Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm excited to like, I just want to give people advice because I know that I've been searching for a while, and it's like, I don't want to give it in a preachy way. You know, there's so many self-help people out there that are like, I can help you. I can help you.
Buy my course for $299.
Yeah. And I'm like, ew, no. Like, what I want to do is like make a subscription like based community where you can subscribe. And then there's also other people in the community that are invested in what I'm, you know, sharing or creating. And I'm just like kind of helping people hold accountability and like, you know, helping. I think the problem is like, we have this internet now that you can literally have all of the answers at your fingertips, but no one knows the right questions to ask. And that's the problem. And for a long time, I was always trying to be like, to everyone, like, are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? And everyone's like, no, like, what are you talking about? And then recently I like saw something that was like, said that my intuition is like a gift meant for me, and like not everyone's gonna like, you know, get it. And I'm like, all right, that's cool, but never underestimate the power of like planting a seed, you know? So I'm still gonna like do my best to show people what I can, and like I'm just passionate about it because like I want people to live a healthy and happy life and like live forever. Like, why wouldn't you want that, you know? But not just like living and like not doing anything. Like, fucking live your life. Like, go travel, go listen to music, dance, like, you know, fight, break up, whatever. Like, just live. Like, stop being so scared to feel. And I think that's a huge problem in society now too, is like
it's easy to get caught in a loop.
Yeah. Well, they've compartmentalized everything, and they act like, you know, nowadays with gender fluidity and stuff like that, which I'm not mocking it. I agree. It's like, but it's, to me, it just seems like such a basic concept. Like, duh, everyone should be able to do whatever the fuck they want. But like, why do you have to like, you know, why should everyone else have to like comfort you in your decisions towards that? You know, like, that's your choice. Good for you. Go do that, you know, but I'm going to be over here doing whatever I want to do as well.
Yeah, respect.
You know, and it's like, that's how it should be. It's like, I'm not judging you, and, you know, like, so don't judge me for the way I want to live my life, you know? And I think if we were
it's an interesting time right now we live in, for sure.
Definitely. And I think a lot of times people are scared to be vulnerable and say what they're actually feeling. And I am clairsentient. So I can like pick up on people's energies. And if you like look it up, I finally did for the first time. And it was like, basically that you can tune into their vibration, and it was like AKA telepathy. And I've had so many friends that are like, we'd smoke together and then they'd be like, get out of my head. And I'm like, I'm not in your head, like I'm in your heart. Like, and I think like it's scary to feel like, trust me, I still have problems like communicating like how I feel at times, because it's scary. And it's weird that like movies and books, like everything since I've grown up, like I've seen people have problems expressing themselves in certain ways. And if you're watching from a third party perspective, you're like, well, why? Like, why is that so hard for you to say? But unless you're in that moment, it's like those fears are real, but you still have to like conquer them, and you need to say what you need to say. Because I also believe in chakras, and like your throat chakra is like, it's important. If you don't say certain thing, like it's all of your chakras, and that's what brings me to health and the whole interconnectedness of all of that. Honestly, it's just like if you don't speak your mind, and like if you don't speak what you need to, I have a friend that's literally doing like a documentary on this, and her grandma got throat cancer, and it's like healing, like any illnesses in the body started on a higher realm. Like any problems you have, like any conflicts you run into on a day-to-day basis, that's your energy that has manifested. That is the law of attraction.
Even like a freak accident. You think everything can be summed up in that?
I honestly think everything happens for a reason.
Okay.
I honestly think that. And I think that like even a freak accident, it's meant to teach you something in some sort of way. Like you either, maybe you were having a problem like appreciating life or your loved ones, or the fact that you can walk, or the fact that you can love, you know, like you could have been taking something for granted, and that was there to show you, you know, like the universe was like so perfectly orchestrated. There are no accidents. There really isn't. And like people are going to get mad about that, because like
I kind of think that, and sometimes I don't. Like I just think that I just don't know. Like I can't say it definitively.
I think that like even really, I think because I don't see it as like this is our only life. I believe in reincarnation. Like I think I've been on this planet many times before, you know, in a weird, if you want to go there, but like
let's go.
Honestly, yeah, right. And I believe that like when someone dies, they're actually going to be more present in your life than they were before. Like you're going to think about them more, and you're going to feel their energy around you. It's like we are not humans. Like we are like spiritual beings having a human experience. Like we're just here to like experience what it's like to feel all these things, and to like do all these things and acquire all of these things, and you know, just see what the you know, live it out, you know, because you it's a cycle, and it's never ending either. And that's why I believe in karma. And like the people who think that, you know, nothing matters in life, it's like that's a very direct reflection of self-worth. And it's like you're not believing that you're worthy of having a life worth living, you know? And that's a hard truth pill to swallow. Like, and I only say these things because it's like I've been depressed. I've like, you know, had intense emotions and like gone through really intense experiences from like a young age. Honestly, like I think the past 6 years of my life was a whole other like just experience of craziness and like life lessons though, but I saw them as that, you know. I'm like, and that's I think what made the difference, and how I learned a lot quicker than most people may have, because I was like, okay, not why is this happening to me, but what is this trying to teach me? And like, how can I learn from this? How can I be a better person? Like, I literally do wake up every day and I'm like, how can I be a better person? You know, what can I improve on? What am I doing wrong? And sometimes I do it a little too much and I'm like way too hard on myself and I just need to chill the fuck out. And that's why I smoke weed. And I think that's most people's problem. It's because
it's a balance. It's so hard for me sometimes. I know I'm a workaholic.
Yeah.
So that's my issue that I'm always trying to work on.
Yeah.
Like, but I like what I do.
You're passionate about it, but as long as you value the rest that you catch up on after go through those periods of working really hard.
That's the key. Yeah. That's what I look forward to. So like
if you know, family it doesn't matter. Like as long as you know how to balance it, it doesn't really matter which way you want to balance it out. That's going to be a case by case basis. And like, you know, it's going to differ per person. Like sometimes I'll stay up till 10 in the morning working on shit. And then other times I'll go to bed at 10 at night, you know, and like I'll sleep when I need to, you know, and I'll be up when I need to. And I think it's not about motivation because like, yeah, you do have to learn how to have self-discipline and motivate yourself on the days that you're not feeling inspired. But I feel like inspiration is the most important thing because if you're not feeling inspired about a project, you could work on it for like 10 hours and still not get a desired outcome. Whereas if you are feeling super inspired, you could work on it for an hour and get exactly what you need out of it, you know? And it's like procrastination is real, but like it's not a bad thing. And it's actually like your body telling you that you're not in the mood to do that. You're not in the right frame of mind. And like, there's ways to help yourself get in the right frame of mind, but it's like, it's because there's like a certain amount of resistance that you have towards that project, you know, like you really want to get it done.
See, that's where like, I don't know though. Cause I feel like the things that I push back and procrastinate are stuff that I don't want to do.
That too.
It's, you know, like I don't want to do my laundry. Like I'm gonna push it off one more day.
But you want to get it done, but you don't want to do it. And that's how I am too. Like with cleaning, oh my God, with like sweeping and mopping my floors, that's like the perfect example. Is like I only want to do it after I've cleaned everything else in my house. And that's like an excuse that I give myself to like not do it because I'm like, well, not everything else is done, you know? But it's like, that's okay. Cause it's like, okay, you know, your laundry's not done, but you're alive and it's a beautiful day to be alive. And sometimes if you're like not feeling like doing something, do something that you really, really, really want to do. Like let yourself get inspired to like go do something that's exciting that you weren't even planning on doing that day. Like go to the beach or like go, you know, go read a book, go to the park, go do something and like go in your car and like listen to music, go pick up a milkshake. I don't know, do something that's like just do something
I'm more
that's
of a malt
like
guy though.
Yeah. Just do something that's like exciting for you and then you'll be out and about and then you might get inspired to do that thing that you didn't want to do earlier.
And I've also realized though too as well, kind of a different side of it is like when I've forced myself to do stuff, I've come out with done some of my best stuff. Like when I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do this like a video every day. So it's like there's always that once like the balance aspect is like sometimes
the pressure of it can be fun.
Yeah,
the pressure of it can be really fun sometimes. But then it's like the balance, like making sure you don't burn yourself out at least, you know.
Yeah, my good buddy Dave used to wear a shirt his mom made him, and it said, "Procrastinators unite tomorrow." I always thought that was a pretty funny shirt.
That's good. I had another friend that had like a shirt about OCD, and it was like ODC, and it was like it's spelled the right way, something like that. That's funny.
Yeah, it's funny because I think everybody is kind of like OCD in a way about something, about certain
OCD.
Things in their lives. Yeah,
I'm very OCD. I'm like weird about it, but like that's actually a cool thing too. Is I think there's like a random number on it too. I think if you move like 29 objects in a room, you're changing up the energy in the room. And I like get like ADD sometimes and I'll be like just moving shit around, like not even a lot, just like a little bit. Or
you're
like,
making me want to rearrange right now.
And like I'll just like fix things, you know, just the way that I wanted it. And then I don't know, after a while I feel like it does change up the energy in the room,
100%.
and it kind of helps you think better.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if you don't know what to do, then just kind of start cleaning stuff up, and it cleans your mind.
For real. And with that too, like I found myself, except in this place I'm in now, because I kind of have my little studio set up.
Yeah.
Like I realized in the past, like I move my room around like
Oh my God,
3
me
times
too.
like 4 times a year maybe. Like
Me
I have to
too.
rearrange it
It's
just for that
fun.
new vibe in there. Like,
Yeah.
okay, I got a new spot going a
It's
little
fun.
bit. Yeah.
It's like, it's not even intentional sometimes. Like you're just trying to move some stuff to like actually clean, like deep clean. And then you're like, oh, I'm going to like move this around. And then, yeah, it's fun.
Then it gets real.
You got to keep the energy fresh, you know, because if it's stagnant, then it's like stale energy. And that's why I do like, I honestly never realized the importance of like saging and incense every day, but like I've been religious about that lately. Because,
it's funny. I was just about
like,
to ask you that about sage.
Religious about it lately because I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I've definitely, like, my spirituality has been more heightened. Like, I feel things a lot. Like, I've totally been way more emotional than I was ever, like, comfortable with before. But I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. I'm human, and that's cool. So
yeah, you seem deep in you're deep in the spirituality.
Yeah.
I mean, I am too. I feel like in general, but not as deep as you. I feel like you've done a lot of reading too to know to like.
It's funny because like I've actually, that's a funny fact. I've never finished a book in my life.
What?
Never finished a book in my life.
That's a funny fact.
Like everything I learn, I've watched through movies, like online articles, like I'll do like reading online. I don't know what it is about books. Like, and that's why I'm trying to start a YouTube
I'm an Audible
channel.
person.
Yeah, that's how I just learn, like, visually and through audio, and like kind of like doing my own little research. Like, I could spend hours reading articles as long as the information's different, you know. But I feel like what I don't like about books is it's just too drawn out. Like, I'm like, okay, but I know a lot about books for someone who's never really read that many, honestly.
Yeah, I hadn't read one in a long time. And then, I mean, it's still not reading, but like Audible like has changed my world because I'm driving around so much. I'll throw a book up. I feel like I have to listen to it maybe twice to be like reading it once.
I don't know.
I've always been pretty
like,
auditory learner. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel that. But that's why I actually wanted to start a YouTube channel where I would just sit there and like read, because I was like, that would get me.
You know what?
Like,
I want to do a YouTube series called the like just like the Stone Book Club. I was thinking just even the Audible books that I've listened to, like, oh, just do a little snippet, you know?
Yeah.
Like, oh, here's what I've listened to this past couple months. Here's
yeah,
little
and that's
summaries.
what I'm saying. Like, I wanted to share books that like
Cliff Notes.
So what I feel like TikTok and all of these you know, all of these social medias, and like, just I feel like it's a plan. Honestly, they have a plan, and I can see it working very well with youth, and like it makes me kind of sad, but I'm also like, okay, I'll take your plan and I'll raise you this, because I love actually watching salespeople, because I'm like, you didn't sell me, but thank you, because you showed me a new tactic, you know? And I kind of want to just like trick people into being healthy, and like trick people into like wanting to learn, and trick people into like wanting to do things that are going to help them and help their lives and help heal their relationships with their families and their friends and like with themselves, and actually become more in tune with who they are and what they want, because there's so many people out there who get jealous and angry and bitter because they're not doing what they want to do, because no one ever told them that they can do that, you know? And like, it's not like they should need the permission, but like society definitely has some serious impacts on like wanting people to like look at, you know, if you look back at history, nothing has really changed in the past like 300 years, you know. Like, you're saying like humans in general, like principles with government. Like, look back at, I like to watch a lot of really old movies, like of Versailles times, and like Marie Antoinette and Anne Boleyn, and like I really love history. And the King James Bible was like the last Bible before they started like altering it. It was like probably the truest text, and like
Book of
after
Eli.
that, basically. And like after that, that's when, I mean, on a darker subject, people can look into it, but they started harvesting adrenochrome in like the 1600s, and some vampirism, and just like kind of like the eugenics society of like people wanting to control the population and like use them for slaves essentially. And if you look at our lives, like a lot of people's lives were slaves to the system. Like your taxes, you literally get taxed on like the food you make, your income, your house, like everything you do is being taxed. And then like, where does that money go? Like even right now, I heard there's like, we give like $3.8 billion a year to Israel, which, you know, they have a better life set up than we do, which, you know, good for them. But like, why are we sending our money over there when there's like so much that we could do with it over here, you know?
Yeah, it's all, yeah,
I mean, that's a whole other topic, which I know it's heavy, but
no, I'm down to get heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, yeah, I don't know. There's so much stuff out there. Like, I didn't know that.
Well, it's
like, I hear shit
yeah,
like
and
every
what's
day. I'm like, I didn't
interesting
know
is
that.
like, think about that is like $3.8 billion. You could literally take like literally 5 startup projects that people have created to like clean up the oceans. Literally in 5 years, the oceans could be cleaned up, like all of the trash. Like this amazing guy created this invention, and I think they already have one like kind of floating out there. But like, what the heck? Like, where is all of this?
It's just greed at
it's
the end of
all
the day.
going
Money,
towards wars, and it just makes
greed.
no sense. Like, why and for how long? Like, why are we even okay with this? You know, like, and what, you know, people act like they want to change, but they don't want to learn anything and learn how they can change it, you know? And that's like, they don't know where to start, and that's fine. And
well, I was just about to say that the thing how it comes down to me is like, you can at first only really can control that many variables that are close. You have to start somewhere to start changing. Like,
yeah,
people want to start changing all the big shit, but you got to change your own shit first.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's like, imagine that concept. If everyone in the world just, you know, took a day and they're like, what do I need to work on within myself before I judge anyone else or the problems that exist in the world? Like, what could I do better on today? How could I be a better human? How could I be a better civilian? Like, and if everyone did that, imagine the change. Like, literally, that's what I say to people all the time. Like, people have it really backwards about like being selfish and like what self-care is, and, you know, being a good person and all of this stuff. And that's what I was talking about, boundaries earlier. It's like, you need to give to yourself before you give to anyone else. And it sounds selfish, but it's not true. I mean, that's not true, because if you think about it, like, just like on an airplane, like, you have to put on your safety mask before you help anyone else. How can you help them if you're passed out?
Yeah. We're bringing it full circle here today on that topic there. So we got deep today on this show for everybody, for real. Just as we wrap up here, like, thank you. You know, it's cool to hear that and get spiritual. You know, because I feel like everybody, you know, everybody has thoughts like that, or like similar thoughts of their own spirituality, or just what they want to do. But anytime
anyone tries to mention it, it seems as though like they'll have someone kind of be like, oh, you're crazy or whatever. Like, I remembered when I first started getting into synchronicities, all of my friends would like start laughing at me for it, and then be like, oh, Taylor 444, and then they started seeing that shit, and like, people are always gonna hate whoever, well, not like hate, but like, they're always gonna like feel some type of way towards someone who's doing something that's different from what everyone else is doing. They're like, well, why can't I do different things? Real
talk. You heard it here first on the True Bud Show podcast, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Thany you so much for having me.
Oh, of course. We'll get some more collabs on your YouTube channel or something. So
I'd love that. And
cheers.
I want to cheers.
This is True Buds, that Mary J. Now we ain't new to this. For my stoners and for my cannabis enthusiasts, never heard a show as good as this. #1, it's the best. Bringing in many special guests in the industry of cannabis. Business owners to growers, even artists you know of. So sit back and just roll up. Perfect show for my smokers. True Buds, ayy.